If there is one thing I love, it's animals. They are as loyal as you make them. They're entertaining and can be good company if you're lonely. With me being a single man in my early 20s, I felt it was good to get a dog. I owned a German Shepherd. I'd had him since he was just a puppy. He was very mischievous and got himself in trouble from time to time. With him being such a troublemaker, I named him Rebel. It may sound a little dumb, but that name really fit him. Rebel and I had so much fun together. I would take him on walks, car rides, and even trips to the store. It didn't take long for Rebel to grow attached to me, and I had grown quite attached to him. Now, I'm going to skip forward to what happened about 2 weeks ago. I had noticed that Rebel's behavior changed. He'd started acting differently. He'd become aggressive. Rebel would go nuts at anything or anyone. Once, the mailman came to deliver a package, and Rebel nearly put a hole in the door trying to get him. That door was solid oak and was 4 inches thick. Rebel also refused to eat certain foods now. When I first got him, he would eat anything I gave him. Now, that just wasn't the case. Now I'm going to skip to when things really took a turn for the worst. That happened just a few days ago. Rebel's nasty behavior continued. Actually, his behavior seemed to intensify. Rebel was becoming violent at literally everything. One time, I was just watching TV. He suddenly attacked, as if he were trying to get the people inside. It was actually incredible. He managed to pierce his teeth through it. I could see the teeth marks through the screen. On small occasions, Rebel would even get violent with me. At that point, I knew it was time to take him to the vet. I didn't even trust him enough to put him in the car with me. He fought as I tried to put him in the trunk. After a good 15 minutes of struggling, I finally got him in there. On the whole way to the vet, I could hear him barking and thrashing around. He was actually making the whole car shake. I knew something was wrong. His barks sounded different. They didn't sound like the barks of a dog. Instead, they sounded like the roar of a monster. When I made to the vet, I asked to get assistance from a few vets to help me get him out of the trunk. I was too afraid to open it by myself. This time, he was even more violent and strong. He bit one of the vets on the hand.
Oh my God!
Still, it took all 3 of us to get our full strength to subdue him. We got him inside, strapped him down, and waited for the doctor to see what the problem was. I was becoming disturbed. It almost looked like Rebel's physical appearance was deteriorating. His fur was falling off in random places. His teeth had become razor sharp, not like an average dog's. His eyes were no longer those of my beloved pet. Instead, his eyes were blood red and full of violent anger. The doctor requested I step in the waiting room as he examined. Everyone in the waiting room, including myself, was shaken by the constant howls of Rebel. His howls and barks sounded more like a bear or an alligator. The doctor rushed in the waiting room and requested I urgently come to the back. When I went back to the room, I could no longer recognize Rebel. He looked nothing like my pet, or even a dog. He looked like some mangy beast. I nearly vomited when I saw that under his skin there looked like the outline of worms crawling inside him. This wasn't some innocent doggy smile. This was an evil smile. His smile gave off a feeling of threatening danger. If that wasn't bad enough, Rebel then did something that would forever live in my mind. You. All our jaws dropped. We could all have sworn that Rebel said something. Before we could prepare ourselves, Rebel let out an ear-piercing scream. Not a bark, but a scream. He sounded like a human, if they were to scream. I covered my ears as hard as I could. The sound was unbearable. One of the vets retreated from the room as his blood began to pour out of his ears. Rebel began to vomit blood. Within it, you could see small worm-like insects crawling around. The doctor didn't know what was going on, and he didn't care anymore. He suggested that we have Rebel put to sleep permanently. I didn't know what to think. Rebel was my best friend. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of time to think about it. Rebel was tearing away at his straps. I shook my head in agreement. It was better than watching my friend suffer. Within the hour, Rebel passed away. I sat in the waiting room grieving the loss of my dear friend. The doctor came in with a jar of those things, those worms or whatever they were. He said he was going to have them sent to a lab to be examined. Honestly, I didn't care what he did with them. I just wanted those things away from me. Now, that was the story of Rebel. Do you know what's strange? The doctor called me just a few hours ago. Apparently, no one knows what they are. They have never been documented. They are actually a mystery to mankind. I guess. I don't know how or when Rebel got exposed to those things. If any of you have a pet you truly care about, get them checked on immediately. I will advise that you get yourself checked too. Lately, it feels like there's something crawling in my arm. And I've been feeling angry. Very angry.